South African and African creative realm has really come to its own over the past few decades. So much so that the whole world is looking to Africa for inspiration, answers and guidance. For this week's episode, we're coming to you from the hustle and bustle of Keys Art Mall in Johannesburg to explore the creative world of African beauty products, fashion and design. We speak to the visionaries and thought leaders that are at the forefront of African creativity. I'm your host, Ayanda Tabete, and this is Africa Modern. Coming up on the show this week, we explore African beauty products with the African Beauty Collective.
Nobody can make anything like we do.
And then we take a look at fashion with a powerful message with Tshirts For Change.
We make sustainable t-shirts from recycled plastic.
And to finish things off, we are catching up with creatives by chatting to product designer Candice Lawrence from Modern Gesture.
It's that conversation that one hands between the hand of the designer and the material being formed.
To look good means to feel good, and if this is true, then our skin and hair care is of utmost importance. The beauty industry in Africa has grown tenfold over the past few years, with scores of makeup line and skincare products emerging throughout the continent. We went to check out the creative world of African beauty by chatting to the African Beauty Collective. Let's check this out.
Hi, I'm Akosia Echao. I'm the founder of African Beauty Collective, also known as Afri Beauty Collective. Essentially what we do at Afri Beauty Collective is that we review and we curate as well as retail African beauty products from different parts of the continent. Currently, the brands that I have discovered have been 100% made and owned by African women. So in terms of growing up, I definitely consider myself as a modern African or Pan-African. I was born in Ghana and raised in South Africa. Essentially, what drew me to the beauty industry was really my own personal struggles. I struggled with acne from the age of 13 up until last year when I had a recent breakout. So it's been close to 20 years of having really bad skin or having periods and bouts of bad skin. And so part of my interest in the African beauty industry was to find solutions for myself. And what I also realized was that my solutions was also able to help other people. And so I decided, why not, look further into the industry and start looking at opportunities within the African beauty industry, and more so discover all the hidden gems and the traditional practices that were done by women generations before us but were really effective. And through my journey, I started discovering amazing brands, modern new brands that have now discovered these traditional recipes or products or ingredients. And so I made sure I put more attention to detail on the kind of brands that I curate, the kind of products and ingredients they use, and also what is the story of the brand. And then in terms of finding the brands, so it was based on three things: how effective the product really was. Two was also the packaging. The packaging is really important. The story that it tells, is it really functional? Is it not going to fall apart? Is it also aesthetically pleasing? That was really important. The last thing and most important is definitely the brand story. Who is the woman behind the brand? Why did they make this brand?
My name is Vuizondi. I'm the founder of a natural skincare brand that is called Karim Skincare. So we have plant-based skin products that are natural for your face and body. The brand in itself is built around revisiting traditional beauty practices, particularly African practices, and just creating simple formulations and simple products that encapsulate like age-old beauty secrets or beauty ingredients rather. So I was an acne sufferer for a very, very long time. And then I came across African black soap, and it piqued an interest in me to say that there's this whole category of natural products or traditional products that work, that aren't easily accessible in the market, and that not a lot of people know about. So if you think of something like a red clay mask or Ibov, a lot of women use that, especially women who work outdoors, be it farming, be it in construction. And what we found is that that actually has a lot of scientific, or that has properties for sun protection, for exfoliation, and things like that. And what that's telling us is that there's a whole heap of knowledge in terms of beauty practices and beauty ingredients that's not in a formalized market. So in terms of Corium, it's really about that. How do we create effective formulations looking at traditional beauty products? African black soap is native to Ghana. It's actually only made in Ghana. And that's a soap that's suitable for oily skin and acne-prone skin, and it's quite effective for that. It's also a very strong soap. Some people use it for their natural hair, for your facial skin or your body skin. So the liquid version is a bit more friendly in terms of being less harsh. So that can be used by people who aren't acne sufferers as well. So with that, the core component is the actual African black soap. African black soap in itself, it's got cocoa pod ash, it's got coconut oil, it's got shea butter in terms of moisturization properties.
It gives a really amazing deep clean. It's quite hygienic and nourishing for your skin as well as your hair. But you always need to test your sensitivity to it, especially when you use it on your face. So we recommend black soap more for your body.
We're living in a knowledge age now, and people want to know what they're eating, they want to know what they put on their hair, they want to know what they put in their skin. So it's not just specific to personal care. I just think the millennial consumer is concerned, and we're moving towards green consciousness and plant-based lifestyle. So people want to use ingredients that don't have animal products, that don't have sulfates, that don't have petroleum, and a whole lot of dangerous things. So it's almost tied to where we're going just as a generation, as an age, in terms of people want that information, and once they have that information, they make better buying choices for themselves.
I spoke to a lady who actually heads an Instagram page and events thing, and she said she was in the beauty industry for skin products and skincare and makeup. She left to start her own thing because she realized that none of the makeup and the skin products that we are buying from shops is based on black skin studies. So for me, I feel like studies that are based on our hair, our scalps, our body shapes are not highlighted. When I was starting my natural hair journey, for me it was just slapping on coconut oil, slapping on shea butter. I didn't understand the science and the thinking behind it. But now when you understand that you can't use an essential oil on your scalp, you can't just take essential lavender, essential oil and put it on your scalp. It has to be a carrier oil that carries that, because essential oils are actually just for fragrance. So understanding that, because I feel like we just consume. So an educated consumer is my favorite kind of consumer. So I feel like those brands are educational, and it's people that have invested in formulation and science.
What I see now is that there's a lot more embracing of it and reclaiming who we are. So the thing is that firstly it starts with the mind. There's a psychological shift, and that means that by embracing ourselves, we're also able to embrace what is unique to us. And then it goes into the ingredients, looking back and saying, actually, I remember my grandmother doing a mud mask, or I remember using marula oil or lemon to help, heal my inflammation. Why not go back to that and see if that works? Because they didn't have any adverse side effects. So going back again to our history to say, actually, this is what we bring to the world. Nobody can make anything like we do.
It's amazing to see truly African products created by Africans for Africans paving the way. Don't go anywhere, because after the break, we're taking a look at fashion with a purpose with T-Shirts for Change. T-Shirts for Change was created by Nicole Jawet as a way for South African women to gain access to slogan T-shirts that empowered them through fashion. The t-shirts not only inspire the women wearing them, but they also give back to charity as well. The company is now an established profit-for-purpose business. Check this out.
Hi, I'm Nicole and I'm the founder and creative director of Tshirts For Change. Creating change through something as simple as a t-shirt. We make sustainable t-shirts from recycled plastic.
I'm turning this into this.
I use recycled plastic to create my t-shirts. They're a blend of 65% recycled polyester made from PET plastic and 35% cotton. The plastic is collected locally and recycled here in South Africa and then spun into the fabric that we use to manufacture our t-shirts. The reason I chose t-shirts was I wasn't finding the messages on t-shirts that I wanted in retail stores. I was seeing slogan t-shirts, but nothing that spoke to the causes that mattered the most to me. Now, of course, like all the retail stores have feminism t-shirts everywhere, but in 2017, there weren't many t-shirts that said much about feminism or even climate change for that matter. I just wanted to put what I was feeling onto t-shirts. I think what makes my t-shirts and my slogans stand out is that they're more than just a slogan on a t-shirt. The t-shirt is made from a sustainable material, so it backs up the slogan and gives deeper meaning to the slogan written on the t-shirts. My supply chain for Tshirts For Change is entirely based in South Africa. Everything from the collection of the plastic that goes into my fabric, to the processing of the fabric, to the manufacturing and the printing is all done right here in South Africa. And it's also benefiting rural and urban communities through the suppliers that are in my supply chain. So I think that's what makes it truly South African and African. There's quite a strong movement locally and internationally when it comes to sustainability, and we can see it in trends like textile development and technology, more investment in businesses that are pursuing greener technology and greener innovations, and through the development and reworking of old processes like the types of textiles we use to make our clothes. We're rethinking how can we make them better and how can we make the processes better, like the printing, the dyeing, the water wastage. So I think it's all coming together into a revolution of industries that are impacting the environment, as well as the consumer's attitude towards sustainability has shifted greatly. It's much more in the forefront of how they choose their products and how they make buying decisions. From a fashion and sustainability perspective, South Africa and Africa is quite ahead of the curve, but we do have a little bit of work still to do to keep up with the innovators in Europe and America. But we're making textile from recycled plastic here in South Africa, which is major. And a new concept was just recently developed to make cotton from recycled cotton scraps from the factory floor. So that's also going to be growing in the coming years. In terms of design and creativity in South Africa and Africa, we have a great combination of modern design, which is influenced by traditional design and ancient traditions. And I think this makes for a really nice aesthetic that the rest of the world is looking for, something that's sleek and modern but still rooted in African traditions and rich traditions. And I think that's what makes our designs very special. I love that my company can make a difference and that I'm not just running a company with the pure aim of making a profit. I like that there's meaning behind everything that I do, and also seeing my customers being part of making a difference. Every person who purchases a t-shirt is also part of buying something that has a bigger impact. And like every time I get an order, I'm just like, oh, okay, cool, this is cool. I'm doing something with meaning and people are helping me. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool, and that's what keeps me going. My vision for the future of T-Shirts for Change is to pursue sustainability as far as I can, continue to make my product more and more sustainable, keep everything local, and I'd like to be more involved in empowering waste entrepreneurs in South Africa and empowering communities with recycling programs and job creation in the waste management areas. So that's something that I would like to do a lot more of. Just work more with the communities who are involved in the processes behind recycling and a lot of the essential parts of sustainability.
And just like that, it's time for a break. But don't go anywhere, because after this, we're catching up with creatives by chatting to product designer Candice Lawrence from Modern Gesture. You don't want to miss this. For this week's episode, we're coming to you from the hustle and bustle of the Keys Art Mile in Johannesburg. The Keys Art Mile, a spinal development located in Rosebank, Johannesburg, is a project aimed at reviving nature within the urban core as part of an initiative to create healthier urban environments and neighborhoods. The development originated as a precinct centered around art. However, this vision has been extended to create a mixed-use neighborhood within the heart of Rosebank. The Keys Art Mile represents the opportunity, like art itself, to tell a story with the landscaping and public space components contributing significantly to this narrative. The planting strategy for Keys probably conveys the development sustainability agenda the clearest. Not only does the planting palette aid with carbon sequestration in the urban core, promote biodiversity, contribute to nature conservation efforts, and create a favorable microclimate, but it also endeavors largely to change social perspectives on locally indigenous planting palettes. Keys Art Mile is the nucleus of Rosebank's transformation into a major creative and cultural destination in Johannesburg. Increasingly referred to as the city's most creative high street, the Arts Precinct forms a collective of established galleries, contemporary showrooms and edgy exhibition spaces, super stylish workspaces, award-winning restaurants, culinary cafes and casual eateries, international and local high-end design stores. And more recently, a residential development that sets a new benchmark for an urban lifestyle that seamlessly unites life, work and play. Each week we feature a segment titled Catching Up with Creatives. This is a platform to showcase established as well as up-and-coming creative talent. We receive content that has been filmed remotely by them in their own studios and spaces. We ask them a couple of questions to get a glimpse into their lives. For this week's feature of Catching Up with Creatives, we are chatting to Cape Town-based product designer Candice Lawrence, who founded Modern Gesture. By exploring different production techniques and craft skills, Modern Gesture believes that with each piece created, a story is embedded into the materials that gives it an international appeal without losing its local relevance as well as sentiment. Let's check her out.
Hi guys, Thank you for having me. I am Candice Lawrence. I am the owner at Modern Gesture and I'm a surface designer. So I studied surface design at CPUT and I looked at the art of conversation versus virtual communication for my thesis. And I looked at how families in the past would gather around a dining room table and discuss their days and the body language people would use to describe an emotion or describe their days. And I thought about if these gestures that we make during conversation could be imprinted upon a surface, what would this surface look like? And this also inspired a range of other products such as some ceramic and wooden bowls. I also came across the Nando's competition in 2015 where we had to design lights for the competition, and I managed to submit quite a few designs. And through Nando's mentorship, I definitely got to know more about lighting. I got to know more about production, and this really snowballed Modern Gesture's career in light design. If I have to describe Modern Gesture in 3 words, then I would say simple, bold, and innovative. Each product is designed to engage our attention and draw us into a space to encounter more sensory experiences. This conversation also leads to a deepening of oneself and a more personal engagement with the material and the final design. It shows our cultural roots and it's the foundation of our uniqueness. It's in these traditions and in these customs that remind us of where we come from. And applying this in design shows where the designer comes from and the products originating. Our culture ties communities together, and it's also what makes us so distinctive. It's that conversation that one has between the hand of the designer and the material being formed. So sometimes when we start out with a plan, it doesn't always end up being like that at the end. And we appreciate that process, and we definitely engage in that process so much more because it definitely allows not just us to develop our craft more, but it's more of an art, it's more of an experience with our materials. Don't allow the tools to dominate the message. Great designers when all these things take a back seat and the message comes through.
It's been absolute bliss taking you through this week's episode of Africa Modern. Join us next week as we continue to explore the creatives that call Africa home. Let's continue the conversation on social media using the hashtag Africa Modern. Until then, I'm your host, Ayanda Tabete, and this is Africa Modern.